Hi, I'm Rick with Baycom, and today I will show you TurboNet Enterprise Dispatch Console Basic Navigation and Options menus. I'll start on the left-hand side. This is your navigation pane. This is how you're going to navigate throughout the software. First, we have our radio tab. Next, we have our GPS positioning. Next, we have our text messages. Next, we have reports and statistics. After that is event log. And the final screen is Administrator. Above, we have our menu bar. First, in the File menu, we have Connect to Server and Exit. This is how you can easily connect to the server as a different login if you need to. Next, we have View. Our first option is Show Navigation. What this does is it hides the navigation pane for us. Go ahead and show that. Next, we have Show Modes. This is where you're going to select the modes that you want to see. So if you don't want to see the radio screen, you can deselect it and it'll get rid of it. Next, we have Configure Master Radio Boxes. What this does is it allows you to move around your master radios. So I can go ahead and switch these around, and that way it'll switch my talk groups around. Next is my saved audio files. This allows me to add saved audio files. Next, I have a selection between large master radios and small master radios. What this allows me to do is to be able to select between the large and the small master radio boxes. Then my next four options are just what we'll see on our radio screen here. So I have my Show Intercom panel, so I can go ahead and hide that if I want. I have my TX passive over here, my cross-patch panel, and my extended messages tabs, which is up here. Next, I'll move on to the mapping. First, I can select my active map. This will allow me to select whether I want an OpenStreetMap or I can add other maps onto here as well. In this case, we'll just use our standard OpenStreetMap. The next option is to save online map data. This allows you to download the map data that's current right now. Next is map content. This is where your map files will be saved, as well as how often you want it to update, and also where you can change the map type. So if you wanted to use a MapQuest map, you could use that. If you wanted to go ahead and use Bing Maps, you can use that. This does require an authentication key, and it does require a purchase of the software. And we have custom maps that you can put in as well. For this case, we'll just use the standard map deck OpenStreetMaps. Next, I have Print. This allows me to print my screen. Next, I have Show Route. I'll go over that more in the GPS positioning. Next, I have Open Map in New Tab and Open Map in New Window. What these allow me to do is either open up a new map in the tab inside the same TurboNet window here, or I can open it in a new window, which will bring up a completely separate window, which you can take off to a separate screen if you like. Next, in my Tools menu, I have Event Log in New Window, which this will bring up my event log in a separate window, so you can take this off and do a separate screen. Also, Text Messages in a new window, so you can bring that to a separate screen. Terminate All Transmissions is the next one. What this will do is it'll terminate any transmit things that are happening on your system from TurboNet. Next, in the options, we have a few different options in here. The first one is sound. So this allows me to enable and disable sound notifications. Whether I want to enable or disable certain ones, I can change the sounds. I can select from a different list if I need to. Generally, we have dispatchers turning off some of the sounds in here, just because when you have 100 radios coming on and offline every day, you don't want to hear a ding every time that happens. Next is Map in Images. On the map, it'll refresh the map every 30 seconds. select your image size. This will select the image size of your actual radios on the map. So as you can see below here, when I change this, my dots get larger and smaller. This will select my default image. So when I create a radio, this will be what its default. Below is show direction of motion. This will put an arrow of which way that vehicle is traveling. Next, in my hardware, this is where I'm going to set up my audio devices for my dispatcher as well as external support. So if I am using a foot pedal or a desk mic, I can go ahead and set that up here, and that's utilizing the COM port of the PC. Next, in my advanced tab, these are some of the features that I can turn on and off the TurboNet here. So the first one is send alert tone on external PTT. So if I select this, it's going to send an alert tone every time I key up. Next is record mode. This will actually bring up the recording box and actually record my message that I push out to or talk out on the system. And that's in the cases of if you have something that you put across every day, you can go ahead and record that. So that way in the future you don't have to actually key up and talk. Next is enable and disable short press PTT behavior. So what this does, I'll go ahead and have it enabled. Click OK. So when I'm on my radio interface screen, when I go ahead and key up, that means all I have to do is single click and it'll stay keyed up. And then to unkey, I have to click it one more time. I can still key up with a long press and then let go, and it'll go ahead and unkey for me. But this just allows you to go ahead and just do a quick click and it'll stay keyed up, and then click it again. A lot of times our dispatchers will turn that feature off. Next is use spacebar for PTT. So that means that I can actually use my spacebar. If the box up here is checked, I can use my spacebar to key it up. Next is show GPS trigger state in tree. What this allows me to do is on my navigation pane here, you can see how I have the little satellite with the Rendon sign. That indicates that this radio GPS trigger has been started. And once that radio locks on GPS, it'll go ahead and send me updates. Below here on my offline radio, it shows me that there is no trigger being started. So I like to see that just to verify my system's working. Next, I have mute voice from other dispatchers, and that does just what it says. It mutes the voice from the other dispatchers. Next is mute voice from private calls, same thing. Next is minimize window on X button click. So basically what that'll do is instead of closing the software, it'll just minimize it. Next is suggest TX passive if channel is busy or subscriber is turned offline. And I'll talk more about that, but generally we leave this checked. Below you can also configure a proxy server if you'd like. I don't have one configured, so no need for me to use it. Below, you can select your measurement system, whether it's metric or the American standard. And you can also select lat and longitude between degrees, minutes, and seconds, and degree or decimal degrees. Lastly is my volume tab. So this is where I can select and unselect audio. I can also push my select audio between left and right speakers, turn the volume up and down, as well as the unselected. And the same goes for the intercom, system sounds, and system sounds. Last is the help. First one's send feedback. This will actually open up your Outlook or your default mail client and be able to allow you to send feedback to the developers. And the last is the about. This will tell you what version that you have, who it's licensed to, and then it also gives you an email address on the website. That concludes the basic navigation and the options menus of TurboNet. For any questions, please visit the site below. Thank you.